Hey guys, this is Entom,
And this is THD.
and welcome to Mega Man, the OG, Mega Man 1 for the NES. Simple premise here, you gotta kill 6 Robot Masters, each one of them has their own special powers, and depending on which one you start on, you may have an easy time, or you may have a not so easy time. We're gonna start things off with Bomb Man, because the stage itself is easy, the guy himself isn't that hard, so let's do this.
Mega Man 1 is actually probably the only Mega Man game to really focus on giving you points. Like, you could pick up items that give you points. When you defeat Robot Masters, you get points, but they don't do anything, so what the hell is the point, so to speak?
Yeah, they dropped this for Mega Man 2 onwards, and I gotta be honest, besides Mega Man 2, this is the only Mega Man game I've actually played. I've played, like, snippets of, there was one for the DS, where I think you could, like, switch between characters.
The ones for the DS, you're probably thinking of one of the Mega Man ZX games. I believe it was Advent, because I know in Advent you get multiple forms. But, my Mega Man experience, it didn't really start with the NES like a lot of Mega Man fans. The first Mega Man game I ever played was Mega Man 2 for Game Boy, you know, the original Game Boy. But I didn't really get into Mega Man until, like, the Battle Network era. Battle Network is probably my favorite Mega Man, although I have a huge man crush on Mega Man X4, personally.
Yeah.
But I've always loved Mega Man. I've always loved the universe. I've always loved, you know, like, all the cool Robot Masters. I love how you can get, like, the powers and you can use them in, like, a rock, paper, scissors kind of system. It's like Pokemon, except way more violent, and personally that appeals to me these days.
I've got to agree with you there. I've always loved, like, the universe. I've loved the idea of getting powers from Robot Masters and using them to gain an advantage over certain other Robot Masters. But the difficulty curve was always so high for me, because I never grew up with a Nintendo Entertainment System, or a NES, as we'd call it over here. And yes, we do call it SNES as well, not SNES. But, I really wanted to get Mega Man on the channel, not because I wanted to prove I'm pro or anything, as will be demonstrated by this run, but just to get a bit more variety, you know, and shooting robots and collecting powers, what could be purer?
Well, I mean, the thing is about these earlier Mega Man games especially is that it's less about skill and more about rote memorization. I mean, this was NES. This was back in the days where you had games that were actually pretty short, but they were really, really fucking hard. They were ball-bustingly hard at some points. I've only played a little bit of Mega Man 1, and that game kicks my ass, so I'm gonna live vicariously through this pretty much as my essential NES Mega Man experience.
Something here that's not actually featured in later games is that there's actually hazards and whatnot in the corridor leading to the boss, and speaking of, here he is. He gets his own health bar, there we go, it's all red and whatnot. Bomb Man, he jumps about, he chucks bombs, they have a wide hitbox, so you want to be careful.
It's especially kind of bad early on, because this is when Mega Man doesn't have some of his other iconic abilities. He can't do the charge shot, he can't do the slide, which is super essential for getting out of the way of some attacks. So pretty much here you just cut it to the wire, because it's otherwise really hard to dodge the bombs, it looks like.
You see me looking back and forth there? I did not know what happened, because I ran into him, and you should take touch damage, and I very clearly should have died there, but I don't know, lol. Bomb Man is down.
I think at the last moment you, like, shot your gun, and that's what finally finished him off, so you pretty much scraped through that intact.
And the weapon we get from him is the Hyper Bomb. That will come in handy for the third Robot Master we'll be facing, but for the time being, let's go and fight Cutman, and I'm pretty sure you got a lot to say about this guy.
Well, I mean, Cutman's one of my more favorite original Robot Masters, and of course, back when they adapted these games into the Mega Man animated series. I don't know if you've ever watched it. We have watched one episode together. You remember that, right?
Yes, the infamous Lion Men episode, Jesus.
Oh my god. That series was like... Lots of people like it, surprisingly. I don't know why, because it's kind of shit when you think about it, especially for that damn Lion Man episode. But... They took Cutman, they made him like this Peter Lorre kind of impersonation. I'm like, what the hell are you even doing with this guy? He looks like shit, and most of the designs in the Mega Man cartoon do look like shit. I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of them personally, except like Gutsman, that actually kind of fits, but whatever.
Yeah, dunno, we'll get to him in the next stage, but Cutman, you may be thinking, oh, that's not really a very intimidating name for a robot, or just, like, design-wise, you know, throws out cutters and the like, which I think we can see here. Yeah, they're actually classed as an enemy, not part of the guy himself. They were originally created by a person known as Dr. Thomas Light. I think Dr. Wright in Japan, you know, R's and L's switch back and forth and the like. And then this prick called Albert Wiley goes and steals them and reprograms them for nefarious purposes. They were originally created just to, like, help people. And then in, like, Mega Man 2 onwards, Wiley creates his own and everything kind of goes to shit then.
You know what actually kind of bugs me about the original Mega Man is that after you defeat, like, the original Dr. Light robot masters, you know, they're kind of just, like, dead. They're still enemies. Where in, like, the manga, by Hitoshi Ariga, I believe, and also some other adaptations, like the remake of this game, Mega Man Powered Up, and also the recent Mega Man comic book from Archie, they actually get reprogrammed, and they, you know, start helping Mega Man out again. They're allies, and I always preferred that. Because I always like how, you know, the Robot Masters in this game, like you said, they're helpful robots. They're like construction robots or things like that. And, you know, even despite their not exactly battle-ready tools, they would still, you know, like help Mega Man out with all the other tougher, more combat-oriented Robot Masters. And I always thought that was a really neat dynamic. So it's kind of great to see them bringing that back in terms of, like, the comic in more recent games.
I'm not sure what Cutman's original, like, function was meant to be. I think Bomb Man was like for demolition purposes. A future Mega Man game, I think either 4 or 5, actually lists what they're used for in the credits. But, you know, cutting things, quite useful. I guess you want to open a supermarket, boom, there you go.
Well, Cutman is actually used for deforesting. You know, it can cut down trees. And I just love how you skip this mini-boss right here. Like, fuck you, I got stuff to do.
That's a mini-boss?
Sort of, kind of like that. Later games, they'll have more defined mini-bosses. Like, this is very early proto-Mega Man stuff. It's kind of just setting the foundations, which will later get refined in Mega Man 2. Probably considered one of the most popular Mega Man games as a whole. Again, that's more of a nostalgic thing. I personally don't have that kind of recollection for it, but whatever.
Cutman's weakness is actually the super arm, which we'll be getting from the third boss of the game, Gutsman. Well, if you decide to play him third. Anyway, but this guy isn't really too hard. He gets knocked back by the Mega Buster, which is Mega Man's default weapon. But otherwise, you can just jump over his rolling cutter and boom, he's done.
What I don't like about later on, when he does finally get the charge shot for his gun, is that they took the normal gun, and they made it, like, super weak. It doesn't do shit, so you gotta sit around charging all the time. Like, over and over. And it's just, I don't know, why even have the regular gun at that juncture? Just make the charge shot the default attack. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're gonna be using 80% of the time.
Kind of like in Pokemon, you know, Cypher, he was, like, kind of intimidating, had, like, decent attack and whatnot, and then Sizzle comes along, and you can't have Cypher be, like, that good by default, so you have to debuff him a little, so Sizzle seems more impressive.
Well, Sizzler is the evolution of Scyther, that makes sense. You generally want evolved Pokemon as a whole.
Oh god, I see these platforms in my nightmares. Jesus Christ. This is actually what stopped me from recording the game from this point, because they fall surprisingly fast, and this game, or I should say Gravity, has a raging boner for destroying Mega Man. It just fucking hates this guy.
Yeah, like, when I played this a little bit, back when I attempted to play this game, this part and, like, another stage later on, which I'll point out, just kicked the shit out of me. Like, Mega Man is fine fighting guys, it's just like some of these platforming challenges get really fucking brutal for me, personally.
If I can offer a tip, it's that don't look at, like, the long part of the platform at all. Look at the bit that connects the platform to the rail, you know, the little circular bit. When that reaches the edge, you know it's time to jump.
Yeah, this is gonna be our video game techniques VHS. This is how you get really good at Mega Man from your most righteous host, THD and Intom64.
Yeah, that would be such a 90s pairing, honestly.
I kind of want to make one of those now, just as a parody, and then it just gets progressively more terrible as you go.
Well, you know, April Fool's Day coming up in a couple of months at the time of this recording, so who knows.
I hate these kind of sections and levels where you basically have to take a blind guess unless you memorized where everything went. You can easily fall into spikes. It's kind of bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, all Robot Masters have their weaknesses. Spikes are apparently Mega Man's weakness, because if you touch them, you'll die instantly.
Well, to be fair, spikes are sort of lots of people's weaknesses. I mean, even back when they were making, like, you know, Mayan Temple Man back there. You know, that really early Robot Master, his traps had a bunch of spikes in there. Now, I think with this guy, pretty much if you just make sure he doesn't get near the rocks, you know, he could pretty much, like, win him instantly. Okay, well, he just throws him out from the ceiling from God, I guess, is helping him out.
Here, have these bombs, or rocks, on the house.
Yeah, let me just give you a fighting chance here.
He's kind of super easy, just destroy him with the Hyper Bomb, and you are good to go.
Well, most bombs tend to do that job, last time I checked.
Alright, pedantic man, calm it down.
Yeah, that's my superpower.
Okay guys, that's 3 Robot Masters down and 3 remaining, so we shall see you in part 2 of the Mega Man playthrough, where we destroy the rest and take their powers. See you then.